Have you ever thought something like this? If I was a president, I would make so-and-so illegal because I think it's the wrong thing to do. Or I would make so-and-so mandatory because I think it's the right thing to do. Well, in this video I will give you my take on the morality of this kind of thinking and what is the alternative. So the question is, are laws moral? Well, what is a law? Law is basically a rule that the state makes and enforces using a threat of violence. That means when you break a law, you get a choice of paying a fine or get locked up, and if you resist, you might get shot. Now you might say that's nonsense, we don't shoot people for breaking the law. And you are right in that we don't generally shoot people right away, but that's mainly because the threat is there. If the state didn't threaten us with violence, then what would be the point of laws? Let's say there is a guy caught speeding. A police officer stops him and says, "Here is a fine, pay up." The guy says no. The policeman says, "If you don't pay me, we will send an executor to your house." The guy says, "I will kick him out." What could the policeman do next? Nothing. The guy has to know that the state can use violence to make him pay for the fine eventually. So is it moral to threaten the whole society with violence if they don't obey the law? I don't think so. Does that mean that I will get rid of all the laws? Of course not. If the state stopped enforcing laws tomorrow, I would be scared to leave my house. So now you might be asking, what's my point then? Well, my point is that people have started to forget or outright deny that the state uses violence to enforce its laws. And that, I think, is dangerous and can lead to a totalitarian regime without people even realizing it. That might sound like I'm exaggerating, so let me explain. Look at the number of laws being passed today. Seemingly harmless or even seemingly helpful laws like prohibition of plastic straws in private businesses. What's wrong with that, right? Well, the thing we seem to forget is that this law basically says, behave according to my view of what is ecologically beneficial, or I will take your money and if you resist, lock you up. Well, how do you defend that? I imagine the answer could be something like, if we don't make people ecologically responsible, we could all suffer the consequences. Okay, how do you know what's ecologically responsible? The eco-friendly straw still has to be made from something. Are you okay with cutting down trees to make paper straws? What about metal ones? Metal has to be mined, manufactured, and then washed with chemicals after each use. How do you measure what harms nature most? And more importantly, who decides that? Politicians aren't scientists, average voters certainly isn't, and an actual scientist can be bought, biased, or just be wrong. So is it responsible to make laws according to what we perceive as a good thing at the moment? I don't think so. Now you might ask what the alternative is, if you want to make a world a better place. It's simple and we have been doing it all the time throughout history. Ostracism. If you want people to stop doing something, make an effort to make it socially reprehensible. Do some research, present people with evidence and make them understand your point. Don't make them do it out of fear of violence. Of course, that is not as fast or as easy, but remember that if we continue to use the state to make others believe what we believe, and make them behave how we like them to behave, there will be nothing to stop the state once it starts having its own ideas.